Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, May 22nd, 2020. One day after Mark Cuban came on this show right here. Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. Billionaire came on the show. Got a chance to talk to him. I feel like he laid out a plan in which we will all be back in stadiums together, and I cannot wait for those days. Have no idea how far those days are from us right now, but it feels like we're getting there. It really does. Indianapolis is opening up this weekend, basically. Well, not Indianapolis. Everywhere in Indiana but Indianapolis right. is opening up this weekend with people being able to sit on the streets and eat that things. I think a lot of states are doing this. I think we're in that phase 2 or maybe that phase 3 at this point for a lot of places, and it feels like sports are definitely on their way back. Allegedly, LeBron James has been putting workouts together with his team in different locations that have been secure around Los Angeles, so the Lakers are ready to go. We heard from Mark Cuban yesterday that Orlando will be the home for the Hotel California Biodome type playoff and finals run that would finish the season that ended before this COVID-19 came through and dropped an elbow on everything. The onside kick is potentially going to be gone. Do you hear music?
Yes.
Now it's gone.
No, we don't. That was Jay.
Sleepy Jay.
That was Jay. Jay had to. Hey, Jay, come on, bub. Jay, it's Friday. I mean, you got 2 days off tomorrow. I mean, starting tomorrow.
I usually keep the music real low before Nick starts the music. I didn't realize you had something playing on.
Eventually. Now he's muted, Nick. What a move.
Sorry, Nick.
I don't accept, Jay. I don't accept your apology.
I wasn't blaming you. I was just saying that's what I had to do.
And then he muted you, too. Oh, that was awesome. At Nick Morato's here. You can't hear him. Tone Diggs is here. Ty Schmidt is here. Jason McAfee's here. Viva Lazito's here. Evan Foxy's here. And on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. Fresh out of the 80s, I believe, Boston Connor.
De France. Bonsoir, monsieur.
Nice. To a Trey Grohl.
Oui. He's German?
I just say he's very fat.
Yes. Oui,
I believe is what. That's the only line I know, by the way, because we were playing your people from your land, French soccer team, whenever I was a teenager. And I asked my French teacher to tell me something that I could potentially, poke the bear a little bit with these French kids. And the only thing she told me was that you were very fat. And I was like, well, it's a soccer game, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of. But I was screaming at all those kids, and then I end up with a cleat right in the middle of my chest. Factual statement. I almost got carried off. I had the old thing that happened to me. Cleat to the chest. That's what happens when you call the French bastards fat. You know what I mean?
Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, he went straight to the middle of the chest, too.
Yeah, he headbutted the chest in the middle of the World Cup final. And what is your name?
My name is...
Yeah, nice. Okay. What's on your little dry erase board back there, Frenchie?
Happy Memorial Day weekend. Support the troops.
That's...
You know what he looks like? The old WCW wrestler Scott Norton.
He does look like Scott Norton, doesn't he? Hey, we know Scott
Arm
Norton.
wrestling champ.
Yeah, we know Scott Norton. Scott Norton, NWO, legend, big guy. I arm wrestled him, by the way. I arm wrestled Scott Norton.
Why?
Why not? I was probably pretty intoxicated, I guess. I mean, you see him, you're not going to not, right? He was in.
Snap your arm like a twig.
Yeah, he did, by the way. I did not win. But he's a gentleman, Scott Norton. His wife, what's her name? Tammy, I believe. Oh,
good name.
Angel of a lady, though. Great family. Had some beers. That's him right there. By the way, still got it. I think he's like 60, maybe 70 years old. Bingo. And here on Friday, intern Emmett, old mullet Mitt. How you doing, pal? I'm doing really good.
Jay's having a rough
Jay, come on, Jay. Jay, come on, dude. Mullet Mitt, you did not deserve that. Nick, potentially, but you did not deserve that. How are you doing, bub?
Doing very well.
Okay. You and your family are actually a massive part of the conversation that's about to happen here. So the NFL is trying to potentially get a new rule in instead of onside kicks. Because the onside kick success percentage has gone down so much since the new rules have been instituted about the kickoff returns, where the return team has to be basically 8 of the players have to be within 20 yards of the kickoff line. So there is no real room to successfully recover onside kicks. I mean, obviously Young Ho Koo last year had some success, which was awesome, but it's not something that is normal. And I am not happy about it because I took a lot of pride in my onside kicking ability. It was something that I worked on a lot, but this is something that I think has been a writing on the wall here for the last couple of years. You see that teams aren't happy that they have basically no chance at the end of a game to come back unless somebody gets very lucky. It feels as if the onside kick thing has become obsolete, and I don't love that, and I think this is potentially my fault, and not just my fault. The man who created Emmett's fault as well, his dad's fault. Tom McMahon deserves to be blamed for this onside kick thing potentially being no longer happening at the end of the game. I like the 4th and 15 concept, by the way. I enjoy it a lot. Whenever that was first pitched out there, because the XFL had something similar to this, and there was as soon as these ideas started floating out there, we said that we think this is awesome. But for a particular team known as the Kansas City Chiefs, if they really wanted to, they could come out and say, hey, okay, we scored a touchdown first drive. Let's go 4th and 15. We're hot. Let's do it again. Let's run it again. And by halftime, they're up 50-zip, and then they're just resting the entire second half if you're that type of offense. And you happen to find a hole in the defense. So they obviously added, okay, Patrick Mahomes responded, saw the same thing that we saw whenever we saw this. They added that you could only do it 2 times a game. Okay, so you obviously have to save one for the end because you have no idea what's going to happen in the fourth quarter of a game. You might need one, and you might be able to use another one throughout the game, but that takes out what we were talking about. Let's get back to the onside kick thing, though, and the kickoffs basically being changed completely, and not in lieu of the concussion fear. So the kickoff play was a play that obviously had a lot of destruction. I mean, there was high-speed collisions. I'll never forget kicking off my first NFL game and just watching these humans fly by me like a bunch of sawzalls, just going to try to feed their family. And then you got humans on the other side that are just like, it was a classic gladiator warrior thing that did not happen a lot. A lot of coaches, you're talking about a lot of football guys, super football guys that are like, kickoff's my favorite play. Why is that? Well, it's because you just got 10 dudes in a kicker sprinting at 10 dudes in a returner. And there's violence and there's collisions, and there used to be wedges where you would have to have one guy who was like, okay, you're our sacrificial lamb, basically. You're a wedge buster is your name. It's like, I take a lot of pride in being a wedge buster. It's like, what do? Well, I sprint as fast as I can, and then I dive head first into 3 to 4 people. And that's what you do every time. Every time? Every time. And then I go sit on the bench. I try to get it back. I do some smelling salts. And the next time we score, you know what's happening again? I'm kamikazing into another 4 dudes. And that's just how it was for a long time. That's just how it was for a long time. They had the ball at the 30. There was a lot of returns. In those moments, although incredibly dangerous to people's future health, said wedge busters, for instance, potentially very dangerous. I think a lot of wedge busters will be like, hey, I understand there's an inherent risk in this, but this is the only way I'm making this team, by the way, is being this person. I'm not playing on defense. I'm not playing on offense. I'm a special teamer, and my job is to do this. So once science started coming out and Will Smith, Dr. Will Smith came out, and he started talking about CT and things like that, the NFL very much understood, like, although the kickoff play is an exciting play and one that creates massive collisions and massive things like that in nature. I mean, it's just next level. And at any given moment, the kickoff return can go to the house. All you need is one person to go out of a lane, and it's a touchdown. I mean, that's just every single kickoff is a roll of the dice for the team that's kicking off, by the way. That thing can go to the house any moment. And if you give up a kickoff return, I don't know the stats of when you lose, but it's probably going to be pretty high. So that whenever the CTE started coming out and the future health started coming out, and we're about player safety, the first stat that everybody looked at was, okay, for kickoffs, how many people get injured on this play, and how do we go about either eliminating it or making it safer? So whenever I was playing, we did a lot of onside kicks. Tom McMahon, Emmett's dad, and we were very aggressive. I felt like we were very clever in the way we drew them up. We did surprise onside kicks right. We did surprise onside kicks left. We kicked one in the middle. I kicked one to myself. I mean, there was just an entire thing. But after we start successfully hitting surprise onside kicks in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter, not just at the end of the game, everybody started using their hands team against us. So opening kickoff of the game, the other team would have their hands team on the field, okay? So they would have 8 guys that would be within 15 yards or 20 yards of the kickoff. And this was in 2015, 2016, 2017. This was years before the CTE conversation and the kickoff rule changed. So we started facing these hands teams every single kickoff. Then whenever they started looking at how do we change the kickoff or do we eliminate the kickoff, I was told that they actually looked at our film from how people were defending us and how many injuries we had, and since the players had to turn and run with the guys as opposed to being set up on their own 10 or on their own 15 with the returner, since they were all up close to the kickoff line of scrimmage, they had to turn and run as if it was a punt return. So there was no more of the posted and then the missile coming at a guy, which was normally where the problems lie. So those stats were shown. Then they decided to make adjustments to the kickoff return, and they made it to the rules that where everybody who defended us, basically, now everybody has to do that. With that happening, obviously, when you have all those people up there, the risk of a surprise onside kick now goes down because you got now 8 people there where opposed you're trying to take advantage of it. You can no longer shift and have 6 people on one side, 4 on another. You have to be balanced. You have to be 5 on 5. So you have the same amount of humans over here because if you put 6 people over here and they only have 4 people covering it, and you have 4 people over here and they have 5 people covering it because they're not smart enough to make the adjustment. It's like, okay, check, bang, we're hitting an onside kick to the right. We used to be able to do that, and we did do that. But now whenever there's 8 people up that close to the line of scrimmage, you can't hit surprise onside kicks. So I would like to say that although the writing has been on the wall that the onside kick is going to disappear, as somebody who took a lot of pride in being a weapon for my team to gain another possession, it's like a turnover basically, getting picks, creating a fumble and covering. I took a lot of pride in that. I think the last couple of years while watching football, with everybody that close to the line of scrimmage and the kickoff line, I felt like with the way the onside kick success rates were just going down. And then you saw kickers stop working on their onside kicks. They were like, you know what? We're probably not going to call it. We're probably not going to get it anyways. They would all just have the same basic onside kick. It was a little bit, there was no creativity, high bounce. There was no spinner. Those things kind of started falling by the wayside because kickers started prioritizing things that mattered and things that didn't. And it felt like onside kicks, even to kickers, didn't matter anymore because the success rate was so low. I felt like it was only a matter of time before they created another option for teams to be able to get back in games, because stealing that possession at the end or being able to come back when down a score is a massive part of football, because not only does it affect gambling, it affects outcomes, but also ratings. Like, you want to know that there's some sort of chance for a team to get back, and in the end, you used to be able to deal with onside kicks, used to be able to steal some possessions throughout the whole thing. Yeah, that was me right there. That high point with the circle, that was basically us that year of 2014. It was so much fun. I got a little bit reckless too. I was starting to say things in team meetings that I shouldn't say. We would come out of a game and we had an onside kick call. We had like 2 onside kicks, maybe a surprise onside kick, and we didn't call it. Right? For some reason, we didn't call it. And on the sideline, I was probably pitching to call it on numerous occasions, and we didn't call it. We ended up losing the game, right? So now Tom McMahon, Emmett's dad, knows that in that meeting the next morning, the special teams meeting the next morning, that we're talking about the game. He knows that I, during the game, was wanting to call something. We did not win, and an extra possession would have been awesome. And I started. I mean, I was getting a bit reckless with the things I was saying. Yeah, but none of this matters because we could have called an onside kick, so this doesn't even matter. And Tom would be like, well, that's a decision that a lot of people have to make, Pat. And obviously there was a couple of chances where we didn't have the look, and sometimes we did or whatever. He would go to the next one, I'm like, could have done it right here. We could have called it right here. We would have got it. And I just wanted the rest of the team to know, like, hey, listen, I was pitching hard for us to do this, because for a special teams unit, whenever you're running fakes, whenever you're doing onside kicks, like the boost that is for the team, it's like, hey, we're not just in between plays here. We're actually making plays. And Tom and I actually had to have a talk. And he was like, hey, listen, you think I'm the one that has to, you think I am the one that has to give the green light for an onside kick? Go yell at Chuck. Like, listen, if you want to yell in the middle of a meeting, don't make it the special teams meeting. Make it the team meeting then. So that next week in the team meeting, Chuck would say something, and I just thought about, like, in the middle of it, should I just treat this thing like a special teams meeting and just tell Chuck I think this is a bunch of BS because he won't call the onside kick? And I sat back and I said, no, not my spot. So I never had that moment. But Tom McMahon caught some wrath a couple of days, and I feel so bad for the man. But it is 100% our fault that this happened. I really do believe that this is our fault because the stats of teams, whenever they were playing their hands team against us, the injury rate that we had was so low. Everybody was like, this is probably what we should do here.
And you said it perfectly as far as like the end of the game's concerned. If there was a game in the last couple of years and it was under 2 minutes and they were down more than one score, like you knew they could get that one score, but the percentage of getting an onside kick again and then scoring again was so low. But now with the 4th and 15, they said there's a 25% chance over the years that a 4th and 15 is converted. Like, that's going to make 2-score games at the end much more exciting, and even 3-score games if you could run 2 of them.
So onside kicks, you can't advance, right? You can only cover them. So, like, I don't know if a lot of people know that, by the way. Like, onside kicks, you can't advance. Muffed punch, you can't advance. Fumbles, though, on kickoff return and punt return, you can advance. So the only thing you want to do is cover. This 4th and 15, I'd assume they can score on that play.
I would assume so as well.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume that we could potentially see last play of the game, 4th and 15, like, hey, this is for it right here. Maybe it's a tie. Maybe it's a tie game at the time. And now you go 4th and 15. You have one in your back pocket. Like, hey, instead of going to overtime, let's try a little annexation of Puerto Rico here to see if we can pull this thing off. Like, I think this is going to definitely make the game more exciting. But as a kicker and a guy that really took a lot of pride in onside kicks, I feel like there's a chance these things are going to become obsolete. And I don't love that.
Do you think teams will just save these two for the end of the game? Or do
You
you
have
think
to.
So you don't think like the Chiefs will like score first possession and then just say like screw it, let's just try to jump out 14 zip quick.
Maybe they'll try to hit a back-to-back and use one early, but you have to keep one for the end because you have no clue what's going to happen in the third or fourth quarter.
Right.
It's like Peyton Manning talked the other night. It was a good reminder about his favorite game he's ever played, and it was Monday Night Football against Tampa, where they were down like 20 or something with 4 minutes left, and then they kind of came back, and Vanderjack hit one in off the upright in overtime. They won, but the stadium was empty or whatever. If you're a coach, like you know that anything can literally happen in that fourth quarter. We have to keep at least one for the end of this game. So I don't think you'll see people running it back early, but, I mean, getting up a quick 28 you could probably go for there if you're really hot. I think that's probably a move that you have to think about as well.
Plus, I was looking for this and I couldn't find it. So if you do the 4th and 15 from your own 25 and you don't get it, does the other team get it on your 25? So they're already basically in the red zone?
Yeah, I would assume, just like onside kick, right? If they recover it, you have it on your own 45 or whatever.
I could see, like, for gambling wise, like, that's going to be people are going to now go for it. And instead of kicking it and not getting the onside kick and the other team kneels it out, they could kick a field goal now and there's 3 extra points.
Oh, and just cover?
Yeah.
But if people are onside kicking it, let's assume that that's going to be at a point where they can either kneel it out, might be timeouts, so definitely kick it though, because they're going to be probably the 30. Let's assume they gain at least 5 yards on that play, or maybe it's just an incompletion. Yeah, there's going to be points at the end. It's almost like backdoor covers are coming in.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be huge.
Backdoor covers.
You what?
What about pick sixes on that?
Oh, yeah.
Because ouch right there.
Because there are going to be a lot of forced balls on that 4th and 15.
Teams up 6. Spread 7.5. Okay? 4th and 15 here to try to get back. Pick 6. All of a sudden, now they're up 13.
A lot of those fumble plays, like say they throw it short. It's gonna be just...
This is a nightmare. Vegas is probably like, well, this kind of changes our entire algorithm here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And they'll figure it out somehow.
Yes.
Vegas will know more about this than the NFL coaches will. Somehow, some way, they'll be able to figure it out. But this is going to change a lot of things there at the end. Because the potential of it going the other way. Now, granted, onside kicks, the other team can scoop and score.
Happened last year.
It's happened a couple of times. I've seen it happen a couple of times because players are selling out for the ball, and then one person gets a little bit risky and decides, well, you know what, I'm going to run up and attack this thing as opposed to letting it come to me. And there's a lot of risk there, obviously, because that thing could pop up and bounce out. But, boy, if you take that risk and you catch it and you're running full speed this way and you got a whole group of people running this way, all you got to do is take out the backside one who's supposed to drift over and the kicker who's supposed to cover over, and you're a touchdown.
Yeah, I believe it was the Bills against the Dolphins. The Bills returned one onside kick at the end to cover last year.
Oh, yeah.
You ended up on the wrong side.
No, I was actually on the right side on that one. Surprisingly. It was a bad pick. It was a bad pick.
All right, we have to go. It was a bad pick? No, it was a good
Well, I mean, I should have lost.
But you didn't.
No, but that's not what it's about, Diggs. Hey, like we should have lost the Rory Dustin Johnson thing.
Yeah.
Right? We should have lost it. But what they do, they won 6 skins or something like that on a
did.
closest to the pin. We win. It doesn't matter if it's a bad pick or a good pick. Is it a winning pick?
You're right.
That's what we're in this for. And I think a winning pick is going to happen a lot more often than not on these 4th and 15s for the onside kick.
Do you think because it's only 2 now, if it's successful, they'll make it 3, 4, maybe even 5 a game?
I don't know. I don't think they have a clue what they're going to do. There's also the conversation of like the Sky Judge in preseason. All the coaches allegedly are pushing for the Sky Judge review system where somebody is in the booth, just what XFL had, by the way. I assume the NFL would never have that type of transparency because they can't have everything that's being said from Sky Judge to ref be heard publicly for whatever reason, because there's a lot more eyes on the NFL and who knows what other reason. I liked what the XFL did. I actually said, I think on the field, I was standing on the field of the XFL game while it was happening, and I said the NFL should pick this up immediately. I think I even said that, like this is something, because the review system has been flawed. The review system has been something that nobody has really understood. And the coaches, by the way, these are the people that are getting fired because of bad reviews. These are the people who aren't getting paid. These are the people that are studying film, and it seems like they're on meth watching film for 19 hours. And then for some reason, the play that they've drawn up for, I don't know, this particular moment gets called back because of a blown call. And then they're like, well, let's review it. And then it gets on. You see coaches going after refs for good reason, because the coaches are at the point where they're like, hey, you guys are ruining what we are trying to do here, right? And players are obviously mad, but players seem to get scrutinized a lot more whenever they go after refs, which I never understood. I was somebody that loved talking to refs and refs, but I was always told I shouldn't do that. But coaches are the ones being directly affected by this more so than anybody else. And they're like, we saw the XFL work. Let's do that. Let's take Alberto Riveron out of this thing. Let's put Sky Judges in. And the NFL is like, we'll try it during preseason, which means it'll probably come in next year. If they're trying it in this preseason, they'll do an entire year review on what we liked, what we didn't like. They'll overanalyze, and then they'll bring it in hopefully the next season, which, by the way, shout out to the XFL for doing something that everybody has said would be a good idea for a long time, doing it, making it work, and now hopefully coming into the NFL and fixing the big league.
As long as the Sky Judge isn't Alberto Riveron.
Can't be. He cannot be one of the Sky Judges.
No.
I would assume Flores, who's Peyton, Bruce Arians. Those seem to be the biggest chirpers to the refs, I believe, those three. They're probably pretty loud in saying, no Alberto Riveron in my not in our stadium. He's not going to be the Sky Judge in our stadium. If he is, we're going to ice him out like it's Wolf of Wall Street when they're trying to go through the taxes. 21 minutes after the hour, we got to get to our first break for radio. We got Dan Woike, which rhymes with Nike, who's spelled Woike, the NBA writer for the LA Times, to talk to us about, is LeBron James holding practices right now?
What?
Is he trying to take the team away from Frank Vogel?
Oh, God.
Is that what LeBron James is trying to do?
Player coach. Player coach owner.
Jackie Moon.
Corn dogs for everybody.
We'll be back on the other side. This is Deep Out McAfee Show. All right, here we go. YouTube, how you doing? YouTube, how you doing? 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 How you doing?
How's your mother?
Hey, how's the family? YouTube's a wild place right now.
Love it.
Really?
Well, Joe Rogan's heading over to Spotify, but he's still using his clips on YouTube. There's other people that are thinking about building their own subscription service that are big on YouTube.
Yep.
Probably a good idea for them.
Great idea for them.
Yeah.
Great idea for
If I
those
was
guys.
them, I would do that for sure.
They should, yeah.
But we're just kind of getting into the YouTube thing here.
John Krasinski had that show on YouTube, and then it got bought out.
Yeah, and he's not even hosting it.
Yeah.
John Krasinski, by the way, okay, he's had quite a come up. He's that dude on The Office who looks at the camera weird, okay? Funny guy, relatable guy, likable guy. Then he becomes Clancy. Is that
Paul
the guy?
Clancy.
Yeah.
Also 13 hours.
Yep, got
Benghazi.
jacked up.
But I'm saying
Great
he
beard.
becomes this
Oh, yeah.
action hero.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he goes from a goofy Caucasian guy who looks at camera weird in Office and is funny and likable, to jacked up killer
Yeah.
action hero. Now he creates a talk show in his office with an iMac called Some Good News or something like that. A concept that people have thought about for a long time. He gets it going, starts doing things. He had an office reunion on there at one point. And then Viacom, after a bidding war, comes in and says, we'd like to buy this up. Good news for you. Don't need you, though. Don't need the guy that has been the lovable guy and the jacked up guy and now a talk show host. This one of probably right now maybe one of the most creative and smart guys out there, right? The ability to do all of those, not an easy thing. Viacom says, we'll pay for it, and listen to this. You don't even need it. We'll put some stooge in there and ruin the whole fucking idea.
He's thriving.
Thriving.
And the commercial. Is that what you're going to say,
I was
Connor?
going to say the commercial, but he also helped create
Smart
the lip sync battle that has kind of taken off.
That show kind of stinks, but it was, that show stinks. It was... That
Very
show
successful.
fucking
Very
stinks.
successful.
And I think that came from Jimmy Fallon, didn't it? Right? Because he had the lip sync battle on his show.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah.
Stephen Merchant, who kind of coined the idea. Stephen Merchant
You've
brought
been
it
saying
to
his
Jimmy
name a lot
Fallon.
lately.
Stephen Merchant and John Krasinski created the show. Stephen Merchant was in Jojo Rabbit. That's why.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't.
Don't even.
Don't.
I won't do it. I was hating the boy.
Anyways, shout out to him. And shout out to him for negotiating a deal where he doesn't have to work.
Yeah.
He just created an idea that was that's genius. John Krasinski, by the way, it's got going on in between the ear balls there.
Who had a better transformation, Chris Pratt or him? It's a very,
Did
very
Chris
tight.
Pratt create a show that he doesn't have to do and get broken off for? He did not.
Not
So
yet,
But he has comic book money now.
I agree, and I think Chris Pratt was homeless. Right? Can't be homeless in Hawaii, by the way. It takes a couple thousand to get there.
Well, and he was living in a van, too.
So-
By the river.
but I like Chris Pratt a lot. I'm just saying. But he has not created something where he doesn't have to work and he got broken off for. So that until he does that, Krasinski over him.
Got it.
If you're listening to this show right now, I want you to take a second and look down. When was the last time you shaved your junk?
Oh, you're talking about my pubic hair?
It's been a while, don't lie.
It has.
Let's take a second to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for holding you accountable to get rid of the funk and shave your junk. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene, and is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 Essentials Kit, the perfect tools for your family jewels.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, which is a waterproof cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology.
Oh, I love that.
Nice. Very
And
nice.
of course, let's not forget about the Crop Preserver, which is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits, right?
Yeah.
So why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body?
Good question.
Great question.
Subscribers get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer always stays fresh and clean. And for a limited time, subscribers get not one, but 2 free gifts. Wow! The Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code America at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code America. Your partner, your body, and your balls will thank you.
You're damn right. Shout out to your balls saying thanks for once in a while. Manscaped is fantastic. It's so smooth. It's like butter down there.
It's like butter.
Make sure it's charged, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Charge her up. And it's got a great charging stand, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thing looks good up there on the sink. It's going
Doesn't
up.
matter what you're using if those blades aren't moving at full capacity.
you're in trouble. Chainsaws.
Yeah.
Okay, you need those things fully. Because that's when I went to the Chris Angel show. I thought, well, this is a bunch of malarkey because the blades are moving so slow. I could see the individual things. I'm like, that's not cutting anything. And then he cut a woman in half. Whoa. I don't know how the hell he did it.
Magic.
That's interesting.
Cut a woman right in half. Standing ovation. Everybody leave. Never saw her get put back together. Is she dead?
Wow.
Nobody knows. It's Vegas. It's Vegas. So that's all you gotta say.
That's Vegas, baby.
Speaking of Vegas, Chris Sims got drunk yesterday and said that Chris Sims. Okay, Chris Sims is a guy that I thought we were friends with for a long time.
Yeah.
No, I did.
No.
I thought we.
Yeah.
I thought we were friends with for a long time. Then this happened on Pro Football Talk about, what was that, like probably 6 months ago?
Yeah, November. I believe.
November it happened. This happened on Pro Football Talk. Shout out to Pro Football Talk, by the way. Mike Florio has been on that couch numerous times. Good friend of ours. Chris Sims, we thought was good friend of ours.
Right.
Then this happened 6 months ago.
Now it's up to us to figure out what it is. Well, I mean, we know what it is. We already know. We don't have to get all crazy about this. I mean, first off, you know, Pat McAfee, we know him. He's a knucklehead. He's funny. Players like him. So they want to go on a radio show with him. I think he's just doing a guy a solid there. He's not like, oh, let me look at my calendar. Where can I fit in one more radio interview to get my message out there? Okay? Most of the guys in the locker room are not going to hear the Pat McAfee clip. That's not going to get to anybody. It's different than the post-game press conference. Now, he's just talking about...
Wow.
Oh,
Interesting.
Okay, so that came out of left field in November, right? And he and I had a conversation, and because people started tweeting him after he said that, obviously, and you know the people that follow along with this show are the greatest humans on earth, right? We don't know the IQ level of people that enjoy this show. We don't care. There are people, right? And the people that follow us on Twitter, the people that listen to this show, great group of humans, best humans on earth, literally have turned down a lot of things in here because of how much I love said people. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to make them upset. I don't want to make decisions that would alter my relationship with them. They are a loyal bunch. And Chris Sims felt that, right? Chris Sims felt that day. So I got a text message from him. He said, like, hey, what I said there didn't come out the way I meant it because I thought we were friends before that. And I sent something back. I'm like, okay, appreciate your text. You're 100% wrong, though, but I appreciate your text. And he said, well, I apologize once again. And then he even called afterwards, right? In my move, everybody knows my move, that if I get into a scuffle with somebody, if you attempt to reach out, I'm not going to talk to you, but I appreciate that you reached out, and it's water under the bridge. I'm going to move on. Right? It's water under the bridge. I'm going to move on. I'm not having a conversation with you about it because you're going to say something in there that's only going to ignite me even more, and it's going to become a full-blown thing. It's like, I don't even want to, I've been with me for 33 years. I don't want to do that. I just, like, it happened with a couple people. A couple bigger names than Chris Sims. It happened with Chris Sims. So I thought it was water under the bridge. It is. We've moved on. Then yesterday, Chris Sims, he put us in an awfully terrible spot, didn't he?
Yeah, very
He did.
compromising
Terrible.
position.
Very compromising.
Because Pro Football Talk is the blog in the website that every human in the NFL reads. If you go into a coach's office, their home screen is probably Pro Football Talk. That is just how it goes. I was through 3 different coaching staffs basically in Indianapolis. Every single one was the exact same. Like whatever's on Pro Football Talk is what they're learning about in the world that they live in. Quotes from people, who's disgruntled, what drama's kicking on. Mike Florio has been a very solid, reliable piece of information for a lot of people in the NFL for a long time. So when Chris Sims says something and he's associated with Pro Football Talk, I'm like, okay, Sims knows. We actually asked whenever we reacted to the Dak Prescott $175 million 5-year deal, we're like, who told Chris Sims that? I was excited to hear that. And I would assume that Chris Sims did hear this from somebody who would know this particular information. So he comes out and reports it. It's an anonymous source, so that person can do whatever they need to do. Maybe that person, by the way, hindsight fan of this show, was trying to get back at Chris Sims, leaking fake information. But it comes out immediately after Chris Sims reports a $175 million deal has been offered by the Dallas Cowboys to Dak Prescott. The discussion is now around the 5th year, which Dak Prescott wants to be at $45 million or something of that nature. And we broke it down. We broke it down. Like Chris Sims, he's been in the game a long time. Great breakdown. Okay, that year 5, $45 million thing is because he wants to be in a 4-year deal, so that'll be his first year of free agency with the next deal, which is what the quarterback market will probably be at, about $45 million a year at this time, 4 years from now, because everybody knows TV rights and digital rights and everything's going up. So we actually broke it down like, okay, not a bad decision by Dak if that's what he wants to do. I don't know how he turns down a $175 million deal. I can see what the Cowboys want, see what Dak wants. Okay, this makes sense. And then it comes out immediately after our show's done, basically. Ian Rappaport says, talk to both sides here. Talk to both sides. Chris Sims is completely false, is what Ian Rappaport said. And you got to remember, when Chris Sims is breaking news, okay, what feathers are being ruffled at that time? All the insiders, okay? So Rappaport is like, I thought I had a pretty high up insider at the Cowboys. I thought I was going to be a guy that they were going to tell me. Schefter's like, wait a minute. I was literally texting with one of the Joneses yesterday, and they said nothing of this. So whenever you jump into that insider world, you're potentially, putting blood in the water there for the sharks that are the actual insiders to come and get you. You got to be right. For instance, I was in the insider game one time. I said from a anonymous source, which I hate, but I did it just to play the character of insider. Anonymous sources told me Marshawn Lynch is currently in the Oakland Raiders practice facility, setting up for a return to join the Oakland Raiders. Tweet it out, boom, here we go. So then I start getting an onslaught of Seattle Seahawks fans telling me, well, he's still a Seahawk, he's going to have to do this. The insider game is not glitz and glamour, by the way. There is a lot of people you make upset being the relayer of information. So then I knew Adam Schefter was digging into what I said. I knew Rappaport, this is how they make their living, by the way, is getting this type of information. That's how they feed their families. That's how they do their thing. Probably Woj was even looking into what I was saying at that time. Then Schefter, Rappaport, everybody their credit, they go, as per at Pat McAfee show, which is, by the way, I respect the game. I respect that they did that. Marshawn Lynch was indeed, like it's always like, we can confirm that what this insider, who's not an actual insider, said. But anytime you put out a piece of information and it's an insider information and there's actual insiders, they are going to be a buzzing. That's why Shams Charania is so impressive, because he's just a young guy at the Athletic. You got Woj in that world. You got other NBA insiders. It's not easy to get in those waters. Chris Sims did it yesterday, and guess what? He got bit by the great white Ian Rappaport.
And I assume Dak isn't happy either, because like when the Chris Sims news came out, people were like, Dak's an idiot for not taking this deal, blah, blah, blah. Like, and that makes Dak look bad. And then people are just looking at that initial report. They're like, they're not going to go back, and probably a lot of people aren't going to see that Sims was wrong. They're going to go off the initial and think that Dak is dumb for not taking it.
Bingo. Because $175 million, by the way, we all look at that and go, hey, man, you should sign that. Yeah. Hey, $175 million? And you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback? I mean, it's only a matter of time you're going to get even bigger endorsements. Oh, we gotta get to a break because we got Woike coming. But yes, Chris Sims, I guess, was completely false. And I don't want people to bury him, okay? Water under the bridge. He just tried to swim in said water that was under the bridge. And he just didn't get it right. But by the way, I truly believe that Chris Sims was told by somebody who would have knowledge of the situation this information, because he wouldn't come out and put himself out there if he didn't. That person was either setting him up or lying to him, though. And that's a tough spot to be, especially whenever you say, anonymous source told me, because that person now can just get off scot-free. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Are you going to rat out that source? Oh, you can't do that. Nope. Not in the insider game.
Can't burn your source.
Can't do it. Won't do it. Chris Sims, though.
Tough day.
Him and Glazer. Unfortunately.
Two guys that may not survive the quarantine.
Well, the reputations at this point.
Exactly. Right.
Can't be breaking news for those two.
Jay Glazer has bounced back, I think, a little bit. I don't know what else he's done, but
I can't remember what it was, but Jay did.
But remember now, that was Rappaport too with Von Miller, or was it Schefter?
Because you tweet Rappaport. You did tweet Glazer is back. I can't remember what the news was.
Okay, so, but think about this. Glazer has this big NFL insider news. All the other insiders are like, is that right? Okay, so they just sit back there. Then they see what it is, and they're like, let me text everybody I know. Anybody in this league have COVID-19? And all the trainers, whoever's in their inside information is like, Von Miller does. All right, let's take that one. Who else? Anybody else? Nope, Von Miller. We'll break that tomorrow. Just kind of crush us. That insider game is a savage game. You don't want to get in there and be wrong, because they will get you. Mm-hmm. It's also a lot of heat to be in the insider game. Leroy, PFT's dog, is getting into the insider game.
Yep.
Got to have thick skin. Leroy does. He'll be in there. He called out Chris Sims, I believe, as well. Woof, woof. 38 minutes after the hour, we're back on the other side with Dan Woike. Woo! Spelled Woike. Pronounced Woike. LA Times NBA insider. Let's learn more about NBA. We're a big basketball show.
Huge.
I'll ask him about the 90s basketball finals game being the most boring basketball game I've ever seen in my entire life. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Bro, I ain't got all this power to knock a teeth through a can. God dang.
Okay, so,
I ain't that strong.
So look, ready? So when you flip it up, there's a little bit, gonna be a little air bubble here, right? So let's put this thing upside down here. All right. On the same side as this, put it right here.
Just a hole.
Yeah, put a hole in there. It might spread a little bit, so.
And leave the tea in there.
Yeah. So now we make the hole a little bit bigger.
Make it a little bigger.
Okay, so we can really get a good.
With this asshole out.
Yeah, now we're talking. You see what we did there?
Oh shit!
Yeah, don't tuck it in. Don't tuck it. Yeah, don't hurt yourself. I mean, I do not want to be a part of that.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Okay, so then.
So when I open this can up, it's just gonna shoot.
Yeah. So what we'll do is
Am I drinking this or?
Yeah. So you're gonna go here, and then you're gonna open and flip up. Does that make sense? So put your finger there. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Cheers to you. Hey, by the way, congrats on winning the NBA a couple times. Blah 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 blah. And being an incredible golfer.
Thanks, bro.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Hey.
Damn.
Okay,
That's the
Scotty.
best Bud Light I ever had.
That's on a foam in there too. You did well there, Scotty.
Wow.
Hey, there's no stuck here. You're right.
You right.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down, I'm the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Lead the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Cracking fits, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me it now. You probably wasn't expecting this. What expected?
God damn it!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, May 22nd. Joining us now, LA Times NBA writer Dan Woike. Dan, that might be the best hair that we have ever had on this show.
Oh, he froze.
Oh, no. You look good, Dan.
It's truly awful. It's not one mustache. It's two mustaches because it doesn't connect in the middle. That's my favorite part.
Well, sometimes you just got to deal with it. And during quarantine, I'd assume you got to let that thing grow a little bit. Your upper lip hair is, facial decoration is great. The hair on top, too, also incredible. Thanks for waking up early with us here. There's a report coming out now. LeBron James has been putting together workouts for his team in secure locations around Los Angeles. I guess everybody's being tested. What have you heard about this? And is this a sign, basically, that this playoff and final from last year is definitely going to happen?
I think, in terms of like the supposed secret workouts and stuff like that, it's a rumor that's been floated a little bit. I think I can't confirm it, but I do know that LA, there are places you could do this, right? There are teams that come to Los Angeles who don't do shoot-arounds at, public arenas, that don't do shoot-arounds at UCLA or wherever typically this stuff would happen. They go to like super rich guys' houses who have awesome gyms, right? And like, they can do it there. And
that's
I think
awesome. What's super rich guys? What are some of the noted super rich guys who have great gyms that NBA teams come and work out at?
Yeah, I believe it's the founder of LA Gear is like
the light up shoes?
Yeah, that guy's got a nice hoop. And so I think like that's a thing. Like the Knicks do it, Pat. Like that's where the Knicks shoot around.
At the LA Gear House?
Yes.
That is awesome. How do we get a game? How do we get a run? Do you know the LA Gear guy? How do we get a run at that house?
Oh.
Did you see that little quick cross up?
You know LeBron? He's putting them together apparently. No, I think though. But I mean, I think honestly, like, look, like it seems like this is gonna happen. I wrote a story. It's in today's paper. That basically, like, there's a ton of momentum. There's a lot of good plans to get this done. The only real problem is like. Typically, if you're going to build a house, right, like you want to do it on really solid ground. You don't want to be on like shaky sand. And their plans are all built on sand just because it's just like 2 bad weeks of information and poof, like it could all fall apart. And I think that's why information is constantly changing. And the stuff that we're hearing sometimes is maybe 3 or 4 days old, and things can change in 3 or 4 days.
We were told by, the world was told by Buck's co-owner that says the NBA will be back in the next 6 to 8 weeks. We talked to Mark Cuban yesterday. He said Orlando and Disney seem like the place they're going to be home because Disney is a massive partner of the NBA. It feels like now you talk to Mark, he seems as if he said he's not a part of that conversation, but it feels his optimism there. Now the Bucks co-owner is saying, here we go. What are the official next steps? I would assume that not everybody has a chance to go play at the LA Gear guy's house. How would they make it fair for people that don't have access to these gyms, and what will the teams have to do? And do they even give a damn if it's fair? It's like, hey, we got to do what we got to do in times like this.
Yeah, they're going to put some people at the British Knights guy's house. They're going to put some other people at the Spalding shoe guy. Like, it's not as big of a house, but he's going to have some too. No, I think kind of the next steps. I mean, it's interesting you mentioned the owners, right? Like some of what I've heard, at least some of what Mark Lazary said is like kind of not exactly like the freshest information again. That like, mid-July is sort of the target right now. But maybe that's a little early. Who knows? I think for games, that is. But everybody still feels like games are going to probably happen. I think the next step is you got to get everybody back to where their teams are, right? Like you've got guys that went home. Like Dwight Howard just did a conference call with people here in LA. He's in Atlanta, right? So he's got to come back to LA. You've got to get all these guys, and then they've got to quarantine for a little bit, get tested, and then you can kind of start to have practices. And the first practice isn't going to be 15 guys in the gym either. Like they're going to be incremental steps. So that stuff all still has to happen. Like it's one of the things to me, Pat, that is like still like it's hard for me to wrap my head around is like everybody always tells me like games are going to happen. It's going to happen. Like I haven't heard from an NBA owner or an executive yet that's like, I don't think this is going to get done. Everybody seems to think it is. But then you hear what people have to go through to just even walk into a gym and shoot a basketball right now. And you're like, it's crazy. Like Jared Dudley said, it's like going to the hospital. Like you've got to wear your mask. They check your temperature outside. Like you've got one guy inside who can touch the basketball. Only one guy.
Well, and that's why people are saying that LeBron's putting these private workouts together is because whenever they go in the NBA facility, there's all this. There's like a 16-page guideline or something on everything you can do. There has to be a hygiene manager at the facility.
Yep.
They have to do all this thing. So LeBron putting together these side games, it feels as if, unlike the MLB, the stars, LeBron, Chris Paul, I believe others, Russell Westbrook. It feels like the stars of the NBA are the reason why this is going to eventually happen, because you got Blake Snell on his Twitch stream like, yo, I got to get mine, dog. And he talks about all the financial hit it would be for him. He doesn't know how many throws he's got in his arm and everything. But in the NBA, you got LeBron like, all right, we'll just go rent out the Starberry house. We'll play over there. We don't even worry about this. We'll get tested. That feels as if that is why this is happening, is 100% because it's a player-driven type motive almost.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the players union, like you've got someone like Chris Paul at the head of it, right? Like it's not a second or third tier player. This is like one of the best players in the league, somebody who's as connected as anybody, part of like the Banana Boat team or whatever. He speaks for stars, right? Like that's part of it. I mean, he speaks for everybody, but like the interest of stars is involved in. These are the guys that have the most financially to lose too, right? Like if you start cutting 30-40% of someone's salary, like, yeah, it's a bigger deal for a rookie, like in his daily life to lose it. But like Chris Paul is going to lose like $10 million. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could go, maybe, you could buy probably a Via for $10 million right now if you wanted to reboot it. But like, I think, I don't know why I'm thinking so much about a Via right now. This is not a healthy headspace for me to go into this weekend with.
Yeah, it sounds like your hair's gonna be even worse tomorrow morning.
I'm gonna be making some bad purchases today.
Attaboy.
But I think I do think having like those guys on board, right, is a huge deal. I think just everybody kind of seems to recognize in the NBA that there's just a ton of money at stake, right? Like you've got the teams that have revenues at zero. You've got buildings that have zero revenue that, would just want to host this, even if it means they lose money, just because they want to get some money kind of put into their system. You've got TV partners that are so like, I mean, ESPN is playing, new cornhole, like that's like, and they're promoting it. Like
pretty good games though, by the way. I don't like the fact that one can only throw at a time and one has to leave though, because I believe standing next to the person and intimidating them is a massive part of cornhole. So I mean, but they're making it do. They're making it work.
I agree. And I've watched a lot of it. And I mean, I think like the people are so desperate for content that the NBA knows like when they come back, like, and they're not coming back like baseball. They're not coming back at the start of a season. They're coming back for the best part of the year.
Dan, where the hell are you from?
Chicago.
I saw that 85 Bears shirt on. What made you get it? Was it because of Michael Jordan that got you into the NBA?
Yeah, that was kind of my tipping point. I mean, I was born in 1981, so sort of like the real like sweet spot of Chicago sports in that sense, where Peyton, like the 85 Bears, where I was too young, I remember them obviously, but like that kind of the Bulls and like sort of the Bulls teams that would lose to the Pistons are my first favorite teams, and like that's why I hated the Detroit Pistons so passionately in my life.
You have to. It's
yeah,
Detroit.
And so like that was kind of my entry point into everything. You did have to. You'll appreciate this. So one year for my birthday, I have family in Michigan, and we would argue all the time. And they were like everybody has their cousins that they like and love and stuff. And like these were our favorite cousins. I hope none of the other ones are watching right now.
They're not.
They were the only ones that lived in Michigan, so it's not like. One year to troll me when I was like 9 years old, like my big gift from them was a framed Bill Laimbeer poster.
Hey, do you still got that?
I mean, it never got put up in my room. It's somewhere.
It's probably.
But like the idea was they framed it so I couldn't like screw with it. I couldn't throw stuff at it or whatever.
Yeah.
It never got hung up. But it was just a troll gift. Like that's how much. And I was pissed off.
Yeah, you should have been.
Not happy. I was not happy.
Well, the last answer is probably a great trip down memory lane for you. I appreciate your conversation. I just learned a lot in this whole thing. The fact that they just work out at rich dudes' houses is insanity. I would like to get in one of these games. I always thought it was going to be, what's that, the E-League? What's that gym that they're always shooting in?
Oh, Drew League?
Drew League? Yeah. No, they're in a gym, though. There's like
that's where J.R. Smith's been playing in New York.
Forget it, Dan. We appreciate you, but we're about to go to a hard out. You're the best. I hope you come back on.
Absolutely. All right, see you, Pat.
Do you always have a mustache or just this quarantine?
This is just for now. This is my vacation for myself.
Good luck with that Avia, pal. You're about to have one, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Woike.
Come on, Dan. Come on, Dan.
What was that gym called?
I forget it was Diamond or Fountain or something. There's one in L.A. and New York.
No, it is something with an E, though. To hell with it. We need to get into the LA Lights, LA Gear House. Stat.
That's
we need
awesome.
to get into that stat.
Drake did say.
No, that they do shoot there. So, Equinox. Love Equinox, the E-League. That's where T.O. was playing with some NBA players out in L.A. They got good games, I guess, out there. I guess they got good games. I'm trying to go in there with whole white men can't jump high tops on, short shorts, sweatband, tank top, and I'm going to go in there and Spice Adams, Cream Bigums, and splash.
Put your LA gears on, man.
Yeah, get my LA gears on. We're back on the other side on radio. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, May 22nd. I did not know what to expect from that guy. I had no idea that was going to be it.
It was awesome.
I didn't know it was him.
He looks awesome.
Yeah.
You originally FaceTimed him. You said he answered, then he hung up, and he looked disheveled. And
Yeah, I just didn't know who it was. I thought we called the wrong person. I guess we have called the wrong person before. But
I can't believe he had a poster of the freak, Bill Lambier.
Bill Lambier was that guy that was just
punching people.
Getting bodies underneath. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the.
Are you surprised? Isn't LeBron a rich guy? Like, why does he have to go to someone else's house?
You probably don't want all that COVID-19 in your
Smart.
house. Take it to the LA Gear Kids.
Smart.
Let's go to Krishna in Tennessee. Krishna, what's going on?
Hey, Pat, how's it going?
Not too shabby. Krishna, what is that name origin?
India. I'm originally from India.
Nice. Well, thanks for calling us, Krishna. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, happy Feel Good Friday and a Memorial Day weekend for you guys.
You too. You're in Tennessee. Okay, you too. All right. You said you guys. You too.
Hey, first of all, I'm a big fan of the show. What I consider is the most electrifying sports entertainment show on our air right now.
That's what we're talking about, Krishna. You're only making it better, pal. You're only making it better.
Yeah. So first of all, if Mr. X, Triple X calls you and gives you a WWE contract, would you consider it? And secondly, back in 2012, everyone thought that the world is going to end, and they made a movie about it. So considering today's events like pandemic, the UFOs, the murder hornets, etc., how would you feel if they made a movie about it? How would it turn out? So,
thank you, Krishna, for calling us. Thanks for the question. First question was, if WWE offered me a contract, would I wrestle? Yeah, I think so. I think that's been pretty noted that I would do that. I would get in the ring. I don't know that the schedule is insane, especially our schedule and their schedule. Now you're talking about really having to tango things together. We got a chance to experience WWE life for a little bit there. A couple years I was doing pre-shows with the NXT. And Foxy, myself, Zito a couple times, we would just drop into their world for one weekend, basically, for the NXT takeovers, which are insane shows, by the way. We would drop into their world. We'd see everybody. We'd talk to everybody. They had been probably by that point, since the last time we were there once a month, they'd probably been to 20 different cities since the last time we saw them. So the amount of stories that we would hear, whether it was backstage stories or travel stories or this story, we would do the pre-show, then the watch along, and then we would leave, and then we'd come back a month later and they're like, oh, listen to this. This happened, what was that, 7 days ago? Where were we at? We were in Saudi. We were in Saudi. No, we were in Saudi. We were in Spain. No, it wasn't Spain. That was Wednesday. Oh, we were in Germany. No. Yeah, we were in Finland, and their schedules are just insane. And so is ours, by the way, at the fall. So tangling with the WWE in the schedule-wise would be very difficult to happen. But if it was to happen, would be something that I would absolutely love to do. I mean, I got a pretty wasty face and bought a full-size professional wrestling ring on the internet whenever I was still in the NFL. It's in the office now because it was just laying around my barn. I mean, I would definitely do that, Krishna. Good question. Don't know if it'll ever happen, just strictly because schedule-wise, I'm also 33. I mean, I feel like I'm getting into the best shape of my life at this point, by the the way. I'm doing a lot of exercising. I got tired of being called a fat stooge by our YouTube commenters. They were calling me a fat stooge. I got body shamed, okay?
Come on.
So now I'm doing a full bodybuilder workout on this whole thing. I got a bodybuilder who sent me his workouts. Wasn't able to get off the shitter the other day because my hamstrings were blowing out so much. I mean, we're living in a very interesting time. That would be cool. That is on the bucket list. Not sure if it's actually feasible, not only on their side, but on our side as well. And his second question was about the movie 2020, basically. About there'll be 7,000 documentaries about this year. There'll be movies later about, 2020 is going to be documented in fantastic fashion. I'll tell you what, the one face that they should pretty much show for the entire year of 2020 is the one that's answering our phone calls right now. Look at that. That is the perfect depiction of the year 2020. That one says UFOs are real. That one says murder hornets are real. That one says the world shut down. That one is mustaches for quarantine. That is basically the depiction of the year 2020. Support the troops, though. Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
There'll probably be, no less than 7,000 documentaries.
Chris Paul.
I bet there are like 15 movies being written right now about it.
But the production companies, I guess, are in a bad spot.
Very bad
like
spot.
100 and some billion.
160 billion or something like that.
Chris Paul's making a documentary right now about athletes and how they were affected immediately.
There we go. Tom Brady, LeBron. Tom Brady's making 3 documentaries. LeBron James
About
got
himself.
one coming out. Kelly Slater, obviously. Katie Ledecky.
Shaun White.
Usain Bolt, the Flying Tomato. Yeah, there's going to be so many documentaries about people. Let alone the crime that's probably happening and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be documented well, Krishna. We appreciate your call. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, May 22nd, 2020. Hour 2 kicking off in a beautiful fashion. We'll be joined by nobody this hour. We're supposed to have Willie Snead. We're going to talk to him, Ball State University wide receiver, currently with the Ravens, was with the Saints for a long time. I think we had a few beers together whenever we did a show in Muncie, a stand-up show in Muncie, which, by the way, the next night a lady pooped her pants at said stand-up show, so it's a weekend we'll remember forever. Willie Snead has something else popped up. He said emergency, can't come on, so sorry. So we'll probably take some more phone calls in the second hour here. We'll probably do some YouTube questions in the second hour. It's finally Feel Good Friday, second hour going into the weekend. How you doing? It turns out the NBA is probably coming back. Just talked to Dan Woike of the LA Times. He's an NBA writer out there. Had a great mustache, an interesting fro. He's about to hammer tequila. And he said that out in LA, LeBron James, it is alleged, is putting together private games. He would be doing it at a guy who owns LA Gear. I guess he has a massive mansion with a great gym. And then when the New York Knicks come to town to play against the Lakers, instead of doing their shoot around at the Staples Center, they actually do it at the LA Gear guy's house, which, by the way, awesome. Didn't know that happened. We will be attempting to get into the LA Gear, the British Knight, the Starberry, the Adora, the whatever house we could potentially get in and play a basketball game whenever we eventually travel to Los Angeles. So the NBA is coming back. That's good news. How about the MLB? They're nowhere near where they need to be. They only got 3 to 4 weeks left in figuring this whole thing out, but there's so much money on the line. Let's assume that something happens in the 11th hour that they're going to be able to get the players to say yes to a 90% pay cut on what they were expecting because they do the half the season, so that's 50%. Then the 50-50 revenue split, which was another 33%, which makes it 17%, but then you account for taxes probably down to 10%. So what's that from 100? That is a 90% pay decrease that's probably that players are going to have to take. Most of them are. Will they get them to agree? Will they get the governors to agree? Will they be able to get the mayors to agree? There's a lot that has to happen, but there's billions and billions of dollars at stake. So let's assume they get that figured out. The NHL actually is voting today. The NHL Players Association is voting today on a very interesting format that I think even if you're not a hockey fan, you'll be able to get into. Just like in March Madness, if you're not a college basketball fan, you kind of get engulfed by the spirit of what March Madness is. Even if you don't like a team or don't have a team that you want to pull for and you think the basketball is better at a YMCA or an LA Fitness than what's happening on the college basketball court, when March Madness happens, you can't help but fall in love with it because there's dreams coming true. There's action. There's things to bet on. You become March Madness, which is what the NHL is potentially going to do. A 24-team playoff. The top 4 seeded teams before the quarantine would have to play for who gets what seed, and then everybody else would basically have a tournament play in to play against the seed. Best of 5 in the first series, best of 7 probably in the second series, and then bang, we have a Stanley Cup there. The players are mentioning it as the COVID Cup. That's the way they're speaking about. You haven't heard much come out from the NHL. You haven't heard their general manager say anything stupid. You haven't heard players come out and say, no way are we doing this. This feels as if the NHL, who doesn't get talked about a lot because the sport is irrelevant in a lot of places in America. If you're from Pittsburgh, which is hockey town, you love this, which is where a lot of us are from. And this is something that I think even the casual hockey fan could get into. And it seems like this is something that is probably going to happen. Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnson are 2 highly notable reporters in the hockey world. They're saying this is how it would be set up. Pittsburgh Penguins are at 5, which is kind of a bummer. They don't get to buy in the first week, but they'll probably go on to win this entire thing. If I had to guess, that's just what the Pittsburgh Penguins do. That's why it's Hockey Town. Nick is our hockey correspondent. He hosts That's Hockey Talk. Nick, what more can you tell us about this? And why has this not been talked about at all? The NBA we've talked about. UFC's been talked about. NASCAR's been talked about. MLB's been talked about.
KBO.
The KBO's been talked about. We saw that big buff dino. The AFL, Aussie Rules Football, is coming back June 11th in Australia, June 10th in America. And the NHL has just been quietly in the night, which is normally their marketing campaign, quietly in the night, creating something that I think will be electric and will captivate a lot of people, Nick.
Yeah, I think they did as best they could to try and salvage the regular season, but with 12 games left and all those cities involved, it was just impossible. So now they've come up with this solution, which appears to satisfy everybody. A lot of people are kind of pissed it's 24. A lot of people would like to see 20 or 22, but it's hard to fit an odd number of teams. 11 if you go to 22. So here we are with the 24 team. And then now it's to be determined where are they going to play these games. Are they going to do 2 hub cities? Are they going to do, is every team going to get to play home playoff games in their own cities once they get to the 16 round? Who knows? They're still trying to figure that aspect out.
I like the thought of, and I'm not an NHL player or an NHL player's family, I like the thought of them all being sequestered in areas. I don't know why. I just like the thought of Sidney Crosby potentially sitting in the crowd watching another team play. You know, like I think that's a big part of March Madness. Now, obviously the big games, their fans are there, but whenever there's like an empty arena and you got 2 teams playing and they're like maybe the Duke kids are watching the game or something, and then like I think that's a cool thing because it's like back in the day, like AAU. It's like double A. No, what is it? The single A. No, what do they do in high school? They go do junior B, junior.
Junior B. High school hockey, juniors.
Yeah, like I think that is a cool thing that could potentially happen. I'm not an NHL player. I'm not an NHL player's family who probably do not want that. Like, oh, you want me to go move to Edmonton for how long? These are best of 5s and best of 7 series. What's that? 2 months? You want me to live in Edmonton? My family's down here in Pittsburgh, the greatest city on earth. Indianapolis. What do you want me to do? I don't know what to do. That is what I would like to see. I assume the NHLPA is voting on that today, what they'll be willing to do, what they wouldn't be willing to do, and they're going to get something done. But it feels like the NHL now has a real plan. NBA has a plan. The MLB has a long road, but it feels like the NHL has an actual plan that seems like they can get an actual vote in. And with that many people, you'll be able to test the people. If you keep them sequestered, you're off and running. Here we go.
I had a question for you guys. I didn't see, how come the Detroit Red Wings aren't in the 24 team?
I'll tell you why.
Let's go Blackhawks.
When you're from Hockey Town, you don't play for COVID Cups. You only play for Stanley Cups, all right? So that's why the Wings are on there. Credit the Wings for tanking during a season and getting that first pick for a season that does not count.
Foxy, Detroit was Hockey Town when they were playing with rubber gloves on their hands and helmets, just like basketball back then. Wasn't basketball today when Detroit was Hockey Town. No one cared, and they're not Hockey Town anymore, Fox.
I get
they're
it.
Not.
I get it. Everyone wants to be Hockey Town, but there's only one, and it's in Detroit, Michigan.
No, it's
Google
not.
it right now.
The guy yelling in the back there with a bidet on his head or whatever the hell it is what is that thing called? A beret, yeah. A beret on his head. Boston Bruins are currently the #1 seed in the league. Right?
The best team in hockey.
They were.
But they have to play now for the top 4 seed. The Bruins, by the way, very good at hockey.
Unbelievable.
But all you got to do in this format is what Nick was scared of, is run into a hot goalie. Like, for instance, the Canadians, number 12 here, not a great team. Not a great team.
No, but Carey Price is the best goalie in the NHL. And that worries me. That frustrates me, because if he gets hot in a best of 5, which is unusual compared to the best of 7, who knows what can happen.
And I would assume that this is why the NHL players are calling it the COVID Cup, because this isn't real. Like, anybody could be coming off of this thing a little bit rusty. Maybe somebody comes in hot. You have no idea who has a pond in the back, been living up in Manitoba up there, Saskatoon. You don't know what's going to happen at this point. But I like the fact that they have an actual plan that they need to figure out and decipher.
There was a lot of contention, like I said, over the 24 versus 22, because if they would have went with 22, the Canadians and the Chicago Blackhawks would not have been included.
Well,
Let's go, Blackhawks! Black Hawk Don. Trademark. That's a movie.
Black Hawk Don? It is, actually. Isn't
I
it?
can't say that, actually.
It's a sad movie, isn't it? Kind of a
very
sad.
Danning's nice.
Well, just like the Blackhawks, by the way.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Good news, on the flip side, the Penguins could get your buddy Jake Gensel back in June.
Young Sniper's coming back.
Potentially, yeah.
Here we
Shoulder
go.
surgery.
He was supposed to come on a show one time, didn't come on, said the hell with him, but he's very good at hockey.
He's busy.
He's very busy. He was also like 12 years old at the time when he has to come on.
Is Ovi in the country right now?
He's the best. Ovechkin, by the way, has been sniping bottles on top of hockey nets for probably, I don't know, the entire quarantine, if I had to guess. Ovi's coming out of this thing better than ever. But
That's what I'm saying. You think he's the United States, though?
Sidney Crosby, yeah, because if you leave, I don't think
You can't leave.
Sidney Crosby, though, he might be in Canada. We don't know, but I don't think he went back to Russia. Sidney Crosby, though, has been skating from pond to pond in Canada this entire quarantine. He's coming back a better skater somehow, which he's already the best skater in the league. He's coming back with better vision because he's been dodging mooses all Canada, all quarantine on his skates. And he's coming back determined to win the COVID Cup, just like he won, which I hate him for it, the Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was tough.
The golden goal.
It's a backhander, too. I mean, it's just classic Sidney Crosby. That's why he's got that flat-ass stick, so he can make me and him both use a flat-ass stick. Me, because I don't know if I'm a lefty or a righty. Him, because he just wants to be able to do backhand stuff with his friends.
Yeah. Playmaker.
That's hockey talk. Moment of seriousness here. Former Utah Jazz coach Jerry Sloan has passed away. Let's have a moment of silence for Jerry Sloan and the Utah Jazz run, and the man that he was, and the man that he'll be remembered as, which is a good man. Moment passed. Rest in peace, Jerry Sloan.
Rest in peace, Jerry
Hold
Sloan.
on.
Never met him. Never met him. Saw his work though in the Last Dance there with the Utah Jazz team. They had a PTA guy, Normacek.
Hornsack.
Yeah, him playing. Had to be a great coach. I mean, with that lineup you saw, he had to be a great coach. Rest in peace to him. Which takes me to this '90s basketball conversation that ignited some people's feelings yesterday. I got the most amount of tweets I've ever gotten in my entire life from people being like, normally I like you. Normally I see where you're coming from with things. But your basketball take about the 90s NBA was trash. I got a lot of those tweets yesterday. And I would like to ask those people, did you watch the boring-ass game that ESPN had, Game 6, the Bulls at the Jazz, whenever they were using The Last Dance's documentaries, camera shots? I watched it. I know you didn't, because you had to suffer through seasickness to watch that game because the camera angles were shot for a film, not for the coverage of the game. So they put it on there because we're obviously in the middle of quarantine. That game, I saw more air balls in that game, missed shots. I saw balls getting dribbled this high. And I noted, hockey guy, did not watch the NBA growing up, so I did not know that that's what 90s basketball looked like. All I've ever heard was people compare Jordan and LeBron, Dream Team, Redeem Team, Dream Team, Redeem. That's all I've ever heard, right? I came up in the LeBron James era, so, I mean, I tend to lean towards LeBron just being the biggest freak athlete of all time, but I didn't know much about 90s basketball. The Last Dance introduced me to a lot of it. Michael Jordan being the most competitive individual to ever exist was something I learned. Him making incredible plays, being a trailblazer, doing things that people had never seen in the league before was magical to learn about. But the game has changed so much since the 1990s. I don't even think you can compare Jordan to LeBron anymore. Now, granted, they'll say, well, the rules have loosened up or whatever. Let's just talk about how everybody's better at everything than they were in the 90s. Shooting techniques have been honed in. Dribbling drills have been honed in. Strength and conditioning. You're talking about athletes being faster, bigger, stronger, everything you could potentially want. And that happens in every sport, by the way. Football, it happens in everything. So just like I don't think you can compare Michael Jordan to now because the game, or to LeBron because the game has evolved so much, I think Michael Jordan would dominate in today's era, especially with his work ethic, his size, his ability, and his competitive edge. But I think they're playing two very different games. And the comparison I made earlier was
movies
not holding up.
Yeah.
So whenever you're a kid and you watch a movie and you love it, and then you get old and you're in the middle of a quarantine and you go, you know what movie I love as a kid? Let me go watch that. And you're like, you know what? That movie didn't hold up. Okay? That movie was not as good now as I remembered it being. Happened to me with the movie The Pest. Okay? I watched the movie The Pest as a child 400, 500 times. I tried to watch it here during the quarantine, although I love John Leguizamo. Movie didn't hold up. Okay? A lot of other movies did. I think 90s basketball does not hold up in the modern age because of what we see now. Everything is better now, as it should be, by the way, and none of that would have happened without Michael Jordan. So I think Michael Jordan potentially gave birth to basketball becoming one of the most electric sports to ever exist. The NBA now is must watch with all the talent, but I don't think there's any comparison between Jordan and LeBron in who's a better player because Jordan didn't get a chance to grow up in the era where the techniques were perfected. If you eat this, your body will do this. If you shoot this way, train this way, all that stuff where everything has been tested over time. And that's my only take, that I fell asleep 7 times in the middle of seasickness watching that Game 6, and I would never ever do that with the modern NBA. And that's just two different sports I don't think you can compare. So I'd like to clarify that for the holes of the ass that were tweeting me that did not watch Game 6 the other night from the film and do not see things through my eyes as a guy who has massive ADD and gets bored quickly. I don't get bored with the NBA now because there's so much going on. Oh my God, that's amazing. Back then I was like, okay, Stockton's an incredible basketball player, but that guy dribbles the ball over his head every time he I mean, he's dribbling the ball, I guess. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Zito could probably get a steal from that guy.
I cannot.
True.
I mean,
that was a little bit of a jump there, a little bit of a leap. Thank you. But the game has just gotten so much better. You can't compare the two.
Yeah, you didn't see guys like Steph Curry shooting from 3 feet behind the three-point line back then.
Exactly.
You didn't see 7-footers like Kevin Durant pulling up from 3, going through the legs, taking people off the dribble. It's just completely different.
I think that's what I've learned through this entire thing is you can't compare the two.
No.
All those years of comparing Jordan and LeBron and Dream Team or Dream Team that I have watched and tried to pick people's points and understand who's right and who's wrong. You can't compare the two because it's two different worlds. It is two completely different sports at this time.
Can you imagine if LeBron, ate an entire Pizza Hut pizza right the day before a championship game? Like, the dedication just isn't the same as it is then. Not that they don't try as hard, but like their entire lives are scheduled around playing basketball.
They have teams. They have teams of people around. Now, granted, Jordan did too. He had Tim, the trainer or whatever, and everything like that. But now you're talking about a nutritionist is on staff, weight training is on staff. You're talking about everything, and they travel with the team. Your meals are provided for you. I would assume that if LeBron wanted something at midnight or the night before a Game 5 finals or whatever, like, okay, the NBA team or the NBA would have put together a chef that had a healthy meal. This will help you sleep deeper. This will make you, you eat this vitamin right here a little bit more, put you to bed and wake you up a little bit fresher. Also, here's an Ambien.
I mean, you mentioned it with the Colts, too. Like you said, when you got to the Colts, it was pizza, ice cream, and all that fun stuff, and then halfway through it switched.
It switched. We had beers before the games back whenever we were doing really good, and then nutritionists got involved, and feels like everybody kind of forgot about those good old days.
Did Peyton have like a regimented diet, or was he eating that kind of stuff before?
I don't know. You know what? I don't. He was super film study guy, right? So like the night before the games, I don't think he was experiencing the same thing I was experiencing.
Sure.
I think he and I were in a very different world. So I can't say that I saw him housing beers and pizza the night before the game or whatever. I never have. But that era, that generation, and even before us, like that was a very normal thing. I just so happened to be young when that happened and then watch the entire transition of science. And I'm like, okay, everybody's running 4.2s now, 4.3s. Like a 4.4 used to be remarkably fast. If somebody runs a 4.4 now, they're like, ran a 4.4. It's like, okay, because so many people are running 4.2s, 4.3s, like that's the new thing. 4.4 used to be the standard. And when Dion came in and ran a 4.2, it was like, he's an anomaly at this point. Now if somebody runs a 4.4, it's like, oh, it was a high 4.4 though. It's like, That's because everything has gotten better. The nutrition, the training, you name it. It's a whole different world now. And that's, by the way, good for all sports, is that people are getting better at their sport, aside from kickers who seem to have gotten worse last year.
What about playing golf? Would guys play golf on game day or days before game day in the NFL that you knew?
Nobody I know. Larry Fitzgerald, I guess, has a pretty good reputation of going and playing golf like the day before a game. Because Arizona, they travel to places earlier because it's a little bit of a haul when they're out there. I guess there's a story that Larry Fitzgerald will play at a golf course like the day before or whatever, if it's a really nice golf course. Him and Patrick Peterson, I guess they would go play. I don't know about day of game, but by the way, that is why Michael Jordan would dominate in any era, because he was able to go play 36 holes of golf and then go play an entire game. I mean, that type of just competitive work ethic edge would hold up in any era. But it's two different worlds. Just like I think LeBron and everybody would do well back then too, by the way. I mean, it's just, let's assume that they'd be able to figure out back then as well. I think the comparisons are dumb. I think it's a waste of time at this point.
Well, you can just look at back then everyone kind of had defined positions, and now you can't really do that anymore because so many guys on the court can do everything. So guys are kind of forced to you have to kind of be able to play a little bit of point guard and a little bit of shooting guard and a little bit of power forward and a lot of guys in the NBA have to do that now.
Yeah, Shaq has brought the ball up the court before. You know, Shaq has been point guard for at least 1 or 2 times down the court. Imagine Lambeer taking the ball down the court. That ain't happening.
Even Olajuwon. They did the top 5 of the 90s All-Stars versus the All-Stars today, and it was Hakeem Olajuwon versus Giannis Antetokounmpo at center. And
Did not talk down about Olajuwon.
We won't talk down about Olajuwon. But we're not comparing the two. It's just obvious that Giannis would run his ass out of the gym.
Yeah, he would have to guard him at the 3-point line at 7'2". Olajuwon didn't leave the paint.
Have you seen Giannis, dude?
Well, I'm asking if Connor's ever watched one of Hakeem Olajuwon's games.
I haven't.
To know for sure.
I have not at all.
He also said that those players were not dedicated just because they didn't know about
that's
science.
not what I was saying. I was
Roll
saying
back.
their whole lives weren't dedicated to the craft.
I don't believe that. I mean, Jordan was probably the most dedicated. I'm not going to say the most dedicated player of all time, but he's definitely the most dedicated player of all time.
So you're telling me eating a full entire pizza before an NBA Finals game is a dedicated way to...
You don't actually think that.
That Jordan was the most dedicated to winning of all time?
I agree.
He's playing 36 holes of golf the day of the game. Now, granted, that might be the thing that gets him going, but the people that would say that they're getting massages or stretched or things of that nature during the game to rest up for the game, they would probably argue, I'm not saying you're wrong, but those people would argue, we're probably a little bit more dedicated at the time than somebody that's playing 2 full rounds of golf.
That was the way he got to his happy place, though. You know,
everybody does it differently. But I'm just saying the dedicated word. I think there would be a lot of people that would argue that, be like, "Well, I'm not in a casino till 2 a.m." Right?
There's dedicated gambling too.
Right, that game, charge it to the game. But I think that even more so makes me think that Jordan would kill in the modern era because I don't want to say that they'd be checking his room and stuff like that, but he'd probably be much more rested. I would assume that he would be. The physical shape that he would be in would be, I would assume, better with just modern science and stuff like that, and he would dominate. But it's just, those are 2 different sports, dude.
All I know is Bill Lambier would stick his elbow in Giannis's throat, knock his head off.
He wasn't on that team, okay? Lambier wasn't on the team that we're talking about. All right?
Frank loves Bill Lambier.
Well, I mean, Lambier was a pest. That was his, he knew it. He knew that that's the reason why he was on there. Hey, just like Marchand. That's why Nick loves Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins.
I respect him. I do not like him.
Love Brad.
Who's that guy for the Capitals that everybody hates?
AQ hates him too.
Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson. There's a guy. Classic pest.
He's more than a pest. He is a full-on scumbag.
True.
But Bill Lambier,
no
hero in Nick's eyes. You know what I mean? It's interesting where you pick and choose your lines. 20 minutes after the hour, we have to get to a radio break. I like this conversation. Just because I'm somebody, I feel like I'm very much an independent third-party observer.
It's never ending.
Well, the ending thing is we should not be comparing the two. There's been people that have made millions and millions of dollars slamming LeBron, complimenting Jordan. And I was like, oh, I respect that guy. He's made a lot of money. He's got a really emotional feelings about it. Skip Bayless. I mean, he's the most emotional guy about this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And he's the age where he would have watched both. It's like, okay, I respect this man. Okay, let's do it. And then once you start watching the games, it's like,
that's what
these are 2 different sports.
When you say it's never ending, but then you say you could throw Michael Jordan in this era and he would dominate, it's like, You are comparing essentially, aren't we?
No, I'm not comparing. You can't compare them on the court. You can't, because anybody that says Michael Jordan's film is better than LeBron James' film in the sport of basketball, I think is wrong. I just think they're wrong. I think they're, and it's not Jordan's fault though. Like, I don't think it's Jordan's fault, because he was doing things that nobody had seen before. Kobe even admitted, like, hey, my game is because I watched Jordan. I would assume LeBron watched Magic. He probably watched Jordan. He was able to put these people. Jordan didn't have anybody before that played like Jordan.
Exactly.
So I think he's a trailblazer as opposed to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a different. I don't think it's a real conversation. Like, it's not.
But isn't it crazy how he's still in the conversation though? Like,
yeah, because he was the first.
Exactly.
He was the first. And by the way, that's like Ray Guy. Ray Guy was the first guy that became a weapon as a punter, right? An absolute weapon. Trailblazers with the things he did. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. But I don't think he would stand a chance next to Shane Leckler or Thomas Morstead if they were to just, or Hecker, or you put in Colquitt. I mean, I don't think if they were to be just standing next to each other on a field, I think you would be like, oh, okay. But that's not Ray Guy's fault. Like, Ray Guy didn't have a chance to learn. He had to create the techniques. Ray Guy had to create the workouts. He had to do all that stuff. He didn't have the information that everybody has at this point. Just like Jordan, he didn't have the information that everybody has now. So I think comparing them is, I think it's just tough. I think it's very tough to do. I think it's a very tough thing to do. And people have made a lot of money doing it. That's all they do. It makes no sense.
ESPN the last 2 weeks has been comparing.
That's what they've been doing. Every conversation just goes right to it. It's like, I don't think this is a fair comparison.
Yeah.
How about Skip Bayless, though? He's dedicated his entire life to Michael Jordan, and he couldn't get in the dock one time.
Oh.
One time.
That's because he went to Fox.
Yeah.
He went to Fox.
You're 100% right.
Yeah. He had to be pissed, by the way.
Yes.
There's a photo of him standing on something with all his J's on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for the last dance or whatever. Hey, that's where basically all my Jordan information came from, by the way.
Me too.
It's like, okay, I want to hear the guy who's the biggest fan of Jordan tell me why Jordan is awesome. And then he would just bury LeBron and bury LeBron and bury LeBron for things. And then I'm watching these games, I'm like, this isn't what I heard from that guy. Was this guy a little bit biased? Wait a minute. Was there a narrative behind all that? Son of a bitch! 24 minutes after the hour. That's basketball talk. That's hockey talk. I think we even had baseball.
Come on, bring it on. Oh, it fell down yesterday.
Got into a curveball. I'm hitting that son of a bitch out. Baseball talk and football talk. We're a sports show. Joining us on the other side is phone callers from around the globe. You're doing it, and I don't know why, but you're watching and listening to the Pat McAfee Show. There's a grown man with face paint on. So you're Big Nut.
I am, and you're Little Nut.
Well, I've had a few of those in my life. Hey, I'll tell you what, Big Nut. I hope to find you one day on my wedding night. Big Nut!
Little Nut!
You did a great job, too. The lines are straight. No DUI problem there. You're really doing a great job here, sir. Hey, Big Nut, I love everything you're about, bud.
Because we are going to win the game.
He just spit in my mouth while saying that. The most likely team to make the college football playoff is the team that is in Columbus. He said khakis
are way too close to that team from up north. If you don't put black pants on right now, you're going to get booed out of Columbus. So I went with the black. Makes me look thin. And whenever I say 2 letters, the place goes crazy. OH! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie George. That offense, though, led by Justin Fields. He has 41 touchdowns accounted for, only 1 turnover. I don't know how he isn't the Heisman favorite right now.
Well, he certainly has a chance to make a stick at that today, certainly next week.
We're supposed to be in Penn State, and Mike McQuarrie told me I wasn't Penn State material. Okay, Herbie was your quarterback. He was a senior. You were a freshman. What was he like as a teammate?
Oh, he was great, man. Big shoulder pads. Kurt could run for days back in the day. Back in the day.
Single bone in my body. Steve, how you doing, boss man? They're down 6-1. She wants to flex on the gram. He says, lady, we are getting slaughtered by the Pittsburgh Penguins. No.
Do I do it too? I thought I need to do this.
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. What did I do wrong?
Yeah, it wasn't you. Sorry. Connor wanted to give Emmett another air because he didn't hit me with the fist bump on the way out.
Going to give Emmett another error.
Sorry. Hey, so sorry, Zeno. That was not on you.
No.
There was a lot of other stuff going on.
Is this one of his errors?
Well, I think Connor's putting it up there as an error, which I'm not 100% sure he deserves because, I mean, he did see the fist and he kind of blew me off.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Look, here he's coming
Here he
back in. I mean, this is a problem, Emmett. Connor just gave you another air back there. What's he up to now at this point, Connor?
He's at 18. It should be about 25, but give him the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
Hey, you're a good guy back there, aren't you? Yeah, wee. Yeah, wee. Yeah. That was the pig from, what was that commercial? Yeah, when he was hanging out the thing. Sorry, Zito.
No, yeah. They're longtime friends.
From the top. We got to go from the top. We can't send them that entire thing. They were going to, probably never.
Makes sense.
Thanks a lot, Mitt.
You did get blamed for that, Emmett. Here you go, pal. Thank you, bub. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And
we sell.
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security.
That was it. Thank you, Z.
Thank you.
Zito, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
They're longtime friends of Show Name, and for good reasons. Simply Safe has made it easy and finally got comprehensive protection for your home.
Home
is where you... No. What?
Home is where...
A house is made of brick and stone. A home is made of love alone.
Ooh.
And that's brought to you by Simply Safe.
There we go.
There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay an outrageous monthly fee or sign a 2-year contract. You're just order... oh, no.
Go on.
Set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fires, and more. All for just 50 cents a day.
Wow.
Do you mind if I call to action?
Please
do. Yeah, please do.
Thank you so much. Right now, when you head to simplysave.com/Pat, my listeners will get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. That's simplysave.com/Pat to make sure they know that our show sent you from Simply Safe, and all of us here wish you safety and good wealth.
Baby Z.
Attaboy Z. Attaboy Z.
Thank you so much.
We got a construction stooge coming after us who's outside trying to ruin our life.
Yep.
Yep. He said he's an essential worker, and we need to move our stupid little podcast to a different time in the day.
Really?
It's a live radio show, you buffoon. And we were doing this show before you got here. And by the way, live radio show, we have a letter. Essential operation.
Bingo.
Due to potential information being spread to millions and millions of people.
Go kick his ladder, Mitt.
By the way,
do it.
Don't kick his ladder. As somebody that did work in construction for a little bit, though, Connor, is there anything worse than potentially having to get your work? I know where this guy's coming from, by the way. He's got a weekend coming up. They can't work during our show, which, by the way, was not the normal thing there for the first, month and a half of this whole quarantine thing. Was he the guy that was the sawzall into the top of our building right in the middle of the show? Is that this guy?
I don't know by the looks of it. I don't know if he's qualified to handle a sawzall.
He does look like a little beta bitch from the photo, but it does seem like this guy.
Also, they said it would be done
2
in the
days.
first week, and we're going on week 5 here.
So, hey, pal, maybe don't make projections on how quick your work's going to be. Then it ends up going on to a month and a half at this point, okay? And it's not our fault, bub. Be mad at whoever hired you, by the way, because we're mad at them as well for hiring you to sawzall into our studio while we're trying to make a living here in the middle of a quarantine. And also an essential operation who's been following all the guidelines this entire time. That guy's a little beta bitch.
Just
Where's he at?
classic.
He's right out there, huh?
I would
Or
assume
slap
so.
him in his... I almost just swore right there. I don't like the follow-up tweet that he sent to us.
I don't like
this.
it either. I don't like it one bit.
I didn't see it.
Where's this at?
Yeah, he sent a follow-up. He's a bum. This guy's a bum. And it's not our fault. Like, we appreciate that you're doing work to the building, by the way. I have a lot of friends and family that are in the construction business. But this isn't just a little show that we can move, okay? You, by the way, are something that can happen at night and at different times. And this show was happening before you even knew this thing existed, pal, before you were ever hired. Get the hell out of here.
Get out.
Get the hell out of here. Done with that guy. Done with that guy.
This mother trucker.
I know, we're going to see a bunch of hard hats outside. It's okay. I will punch everyone in the mouth. I'll come out swinging. I'm okay having a Friday going in. I was doing push-ups on cement yesterday. Fist push-ups, just getting ready to get back in shape, you know? I've been waiting for this moment. That's a lie. That guy, it sucks for that guy that he can't work right now, but we're trying to do that.
Don't need to grandstand.
Yeah, don't
go to war.
pal. Yeah,
And
just
plus,
take
there's a lot of construction workers listening to us right now, too. You know, like...
Yeah. Like, hey, for the good of the group, pal.
Exactly.
That guy only thinks about himself, which, by the way, I would too if I had a big weekend playing coming up, which he probably does. Things are starting to open up. Looks like he's a bit of a hipster. There's big hipster areas opening up down the street down there. Yep. That guy ain't never picked up a hammer in his life, though. He looks like he's potentially just an advisor on the
SoundCloud rapping stooge. I don't want to hear it, pal.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've never hated someone more in my life.
We have to play his music. Can we play his music, or will that get...
No, he'll
probably strike us.
He'll probably
Strike
sue.
it down.
Yeah. I bet you it's good.
Don't give us. I was sore too. This guy, he's gonna get us in a.
Yeah, I know. I almost got a little FCC thing there, too. The follow-up tweet. It's like, pal, take it easy, pal. Jeez Louise.
Take a long lunch.
Do it at some other time of the day. You can't do a live radio slot at some other time of the day, you piece of...
By the way, not our fault. We didn't hire him to do this during our show. Like, we are just tenants here, pal. We're paying to be... Hey, too much, by the way, especially. Too much to be in this spot that we're in. That's why we're looking elsewhere. 2-day job turned into 5 weeks. You guys have been sawing into our studio. And I'm sorry that you guys finally did the Couth thing and were told to stop during the live show, because that wasn't happening. They were running sprints on our ceiling at one point.
Yeah. Goddamn construction. Oh.
There it was.
There it was. We knew somebody was going to get it. Tensions were getting a bit high in here. Tensions were getting a bit high in here with this whole thing.
I forget about the
fell
GD.
onto a sawzall or something.
Forget about the GD.
Let's go to a phone call. It's a Feel Good Friday. We shouldn't be upset about this.
You're right.
And
You're right.
I understand that
Good
guy has work to do. I completely, but so do we.
He
pal.
doesn't care about his work.
Well, he cares about getting the job done. I don't care what
I don't
you're
think he
motivated
does.
by. I don't care what you're motivated by. If you're in the NFL and you're strictly motivated by money, cool. Play good and get all the money you can get. This guy's motivated by, I assume, other things, and I'm okay with that. And we apologize for getting in your way. Actually, we don't.
No.
No.
Not even a little.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit, pal. Grandstand on us. Let's go to John in Rhode Island. What's up, John? Am I fighting a SoundCloud rapper today?
Good morning. It's actually Bill Belichick. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Okay, how's it going, Coach Belichick? What's up, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I just want to wish you first a happy Flippin' Friday and a great Memorial Day weekend coming up.
Has Coach Belichick been using one? Yeah, it does seem like it's one of those commercials where it's like that whole thing, or just one of those mornings after you've drank 3-4 bottles of whiskey or something the night before. Is that what's going on here, Coach?
It's a Sloan news day, Pat. We're trying.
What do you want to talk about, man?
Well, Pat, just want to let you know that to clarify on Stid, he's a good guy. We really like him, and we're really confident in his ability to lead the team.
Well, the hungover, drunk Coach Belichick is the only one to say that he's very good and that everybody's confident. Nobody has talked about Jarrett Stidham, and Matt Light actually said, we are not here talking about Jarrett Stidham. So I don't know how Patriots fans feel. Rob Ninkovich just went on Get Up this morning and said that he thinks Hoyer's probably going to be the starter opening week because of the COVID-19 quarantine, not being able to be on the field. Hoyer knows the offense inside out at this point. He's a veteran, probably get in there. Maybe Stidham takes over later in the season. Maybe Hoyer gets hot, by the way. Hoyer was throwing a damn good ball for the Colts last year. It was more often than not to the other team, but it was spinning. And he did get dropped into the team without knowing the offense, too. He got put in, I think the week after he got signed, he was basically the starter of our team because Jacoby Brissett got hurt. But Hoyer can still sling it. Maybe Hoyer's just been waiting for this moment.
Hey, we've been talking about it, too.
Foxy, what are you chirping over there for?
I love Hoyer. He's a great guy. He's had 500 concussions, and he's still doing it in the NFL. He's a Michigan State guy.
There it is. I didn't know he's a Michigan State guy.
I love Hoyer.
Hoyer's a Michigan State guy? I did not know that.
Fun fact, I believe it was on Get Up last week or 2 weeks ago. He has the longest losing streak in the NFL.
What do you mean?
Brian Hoyer?
Yeah, I think 10 or 12 straight games maybe.
Well, he's always put in there with his back against the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He's always put in there where he's got real no chance out there. Yeah. What do you want from the guy? Let's go to Scotty up there in Montreal. Au revoir. How's it going, pal?
Hey, how's it going, Pat? How's it going, the boys? I hope you guys are having a big, good, feel-good Friday. So I want to talk today about the Eagles. With all the draft moves, with all the moves that we've done this offseason, what do you think will be better, the defense or the offense of the Eagles?
Great. 2 quarterbacks. You guys got 2 quarterbacks. Just like the Packers, whenever you have more than one quarterback, what do you have? You have an abundance of talent at the quarterback position. The Eagles, I think, on the offensive side of the ball are going to be much better than they were last year because they bring in Jalen Hurts, potential Taysom Hill-like role. Doug Peterson told Sal Paolantonio that they love this guy's traits, not just what he plays at quarterback, the other things he could potentially bring. So I think the narrative potentially around the Jalen Hurts bring is not only is he a backup quarterback if Carson Wentz gets hurt, and he has been hurt before, but we're also going to potentially use him as something else, which I like, by the way. And Taysom Hill wasn't the first person to ever do this. There was numerous other players that have played numerous positions before. Not Cordell Stewart being the first and the last, but this has happened on a regular basis. Taysom Hill may be brought into some people's eyes. I think Jalen Hurts will be on the offense, not just as a quarterback, but at other positions. Maybe they'll run Wildcat or RPO type things to keep Carson Wentz out of the damage because he has gotten hurt in the past. Don't want him to get hurt. He won a lot of games last year with a very injured team. Carson Wentz is obviously the future. They pay him $100 million, but you bring in Jalen Hurts, get a little bit, maybe a good backup and a chance to kind of mix it up a little bit. I like that draft pick a lot more than Jordan Love one, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, maybe Jordan Love could have lined up at H-back for the Packers this year, but then they decided to draft one of those guys in the 3rd round instead of getting a receiver. So
You can never have too many H-backs.
Can Jordan Love play nose tackle or linebacker?
I mean, if he gains 80 to 90 pounds, we could maybe put him, on the D-line and shore up some of those holes that we had last year. So who knows? Maybe that actually is the plan moving forward.
Because you got to remember, the Eagles brought in the best corner in the game in their eyes, right? They paid him as such. They got him out of Detroit Lions for a bag of balls or whatever.
Yep.
Bring him into the Eagles, pay him. They shore up. Their secondary last year was a problem. Was a problem. Everybody talked about it. They bring in a corner they like. They shore up a lot of holes that they had. They get Jalen Hurts. A lot of people question it. They allegedly asked Carson Wentz beforehand, not asked him, but told him, hey, we're going to bring a guy in, not taking your job, but this is what we're thinking, which handled properly, good etiquette with your guy, especially if you want to build a team around him. I think the Eagles got better this year. I do. I think they got better this offseason. And they're a quarterback factory now at this point. Quarterback factory at this point. You have so many good quarterbacks. What are you going to do? Win. That's what you're going to do. That's why the Green Bay Packers tried to trade up to number 1 to get Jordan Love.
you know what? I was kind of over it, and now I'm getting a little hot, getting a little.
Well, it's because
sweaty.
that construction guy.
Yeah.
It's because that construction guy.
He's a BFS.
Is he? I didn't know that.
Oh,
yeah.
big one.
Oh no.
I'm not talking. He just wants to get his job done. I respect where he's coming from. I don't like him coming at us for this, though. You know, I don't like him coming at us.
I'd drop kick him right now.
We can't do that because this seems like a guy who would, cause quite a commotion.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I
for
mean?
sure.
I'm not doing it. Hey, pal, we are sorry we're interrupting your thing, but I just want to let you know 5 weeks ago when you guys started a 2-day job, you interrupted our thing.
Mm-hmm.
So who should be more mad?
We were
us
here first.
or you? And we're paying to be here. You're getting paid to be here. What? What's that?
Gump's on.
I mean, I was.
Gumpy is on the line.
Gumpy, what's going on, pal?
How you doing, pal?
Not good. Not good, to be
Not
honest.
great, yeah.
I don't like that we're being accused of being bad people. He called me a rich MFer at one point in this entire thing.
Jesus.
Hey, Pat, what kind of a construction worker complains about a stand down Friday morning?
I didn't even think about that. By the way, probably one that likes to work hard, it seems like.
Doesn't seem like it, actually.
And all you're doing is making him more money. He's going to get double time or time and a half for more hours, is he not?
Yeah, but he seems like a stooge who doesn't understand any of that type of stuff.
Can't have it. Can't win with it.
Won't win with it.
Can't do it.
I don't want to get this guy fired, right? I don't want to do that. I like people being able to work.
I will.
No, you won't. We're not that type of show.
No, we're
fine.
I'm gonna let the landlord know I don't like getting chirped though about
Say, he's
doing
not
my
gonna-
job.
He won't get fired, but maybe don't grandstand on Twitter when you should just be doing your job.
Yeah, listen, we're not making a decision for you not to interrupt our entire show we got going, pal. Okay,
No.
we didn't make that decision.
No.
That was somebody else. Have we listened to his rap songs yet? Are they good?
No.
Want me to listen to
I
him?
highly doubt it.
We can't listen to him. Gumpy, what are we betting on this weekend? I need to know. I made money off your Leverkusen, the Bundesliga Leverkusen bet.
We're back on the Bundesliga. We got Hertha Berlin today, plus 135 over Union Berlin.
Let's go.
Kuska Berlin over the other Berlin. Okay.
And I think you know where I'm going tomorrow, Pat.
Where are you going?
Dortmund.
Let's go.
Always.
Dortmund.
They are hot.
They are a hot team. They're playing the Bundesliga, obviously.
Hazard.
And
minus 125 over Wolfsburg. And we're also going to go Hoffenheim plus 115 tomorrow as well.
Hoffenheim plus 115, a little bit of an underdog. They're going to get hot, you think?
They had a bad first game. I'm looking for a bounce back this weekend.
What, are you in their camp? What
Good
leads you
spot.
to believe that they're going to have a bounce back?
I'm big in the Bundesliga right now. 5-2 first week back. Looking for more of the same this weekend, Pat.
This is our Canadian gambling friend Gumpy, who, as the days go on, is further and further away from ever getting back to America. He's got Krasinski Berlin over the other Berlin. He's got Dortmund over Wolfhauser, and he's got Hofbrauhaus plus 115.
You got it, pal.
Ladies and gentlemen, our favorite. Hey, the NHL's coming back. Is Canada elated about that? The 24-game playoff? Are you Canadians been talking about sticks on the ice?
Yeah, it's massive. The Canucks are getting a bunch of their players back. Everyone's excited here. They said it was going to be a 3-game series, but they changed it because of how good Carey Price is for the first round.
Oh, okay. I didn't listen to what you said because somebody in my ear told me we have to get to another break on radio, but what you said was very good, I think. Very, very good, Gumpy. I appreciate you for that.
Hey, not too many beers this weekend, Mitt.
Hey, Gumpy, he said that he's a big fan of yours, and a lot of people are saying, is he trying to take Gump's spot?
No, I would never. He said he was just keeping it warm, he said.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what he
Ladies and
started.
gentlemen, our favorite Canadian, Gumpy. Thank you.
Gumpy, miss you, pal.
We miss you, man. 5-2.
boys.
5-2, by the way.
Nothing to
Seems like
sneeze
good
at.
money going FanDuel and Hammer. Kinski Berlin over the other Berlin, Dortmund over that other team, and then Hoffenheim. All right. There's some winners. Shout out to Gumpy. Last radio break of the week. We'll be back on the other side, wrapping up what has been a fantastic week. I'm going to go get a hammer and a hard hat. I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College game day is absolutely electric. In Brookings, South Dakota. Let's go!
College Game Day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not one we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's Hayukin! Daniel Russo!
Wax on! Wax off! Knee to the face!
World Series!
Go! Go! Yes!
These teams stink. With that 15, they celebrate by doing shotguns. And I know they figured it out. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! And I will never, ever in the history of my life cut against that ball. Oklahoma State is a win here. It doesn't matter. Not so fast again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Adam Vinatieri School. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the GOATs today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me that vice head. No. Don't do that. No. Leave. Coach.
He has the
Pat says it'll be no.
I told you I came on your radio show that we were going to get you on College Game Day.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The College Game Day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. My coaches are. So this is a big-time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right, I'm back in the day here.
Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room of the Colts. AJ Watt tweeted. We have texts from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends, talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Got about 2 minutes left here on radio on this Feel Good Friday, May 22nd. Some breaking news here. Former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick was granted early release from prison this morning. Kilpatrick has been incarcerated since 2013 and was sentenced to 28 years in federal prison for his crimes. He was convicted in 2013 on 24 felony counts of public corruption for a criminal racket involving extortion, bribery, conspiracy, and fraud. Prosecutor said he used his positions as a state representative and then mayor to enrich himself and his friends. He was not expected to be paroled until 2037. Coronavirus gets Kwame Kilpatrick out of jail, former Detroit mayor.
Yeah, bad guy, Pat. Just added to the list of bad things that come out of Michigan.
He came out of jail, though. Maybe he...
No.
New man?
No.
Yeah, he's a new man.
New man?
Changed his life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's politics, baby.
That's what he did. That is not politics, by the way. 28 years in jail, though, as a mayor is a long time.
He must have done something.
He was a bad guy.
Pretty bad.
Oh, you knew about this guy?
I knew of it. Yeah, I don't know all the details.
Is
but
White Boy
bad guy.
Rick still in jail? Speaking of Detroit people that are in jail, is
don't
White Boy
think
Rick still in jail?
Good question.
That guy was moving out there. He had a license plate that says Snowman, too. He was not hiding
Was
it.
that McConaughey?
No.
His son.
Yeah, McConaughey's son.
Oh, okay.
McConaughey was in that, right?
Yeah, he was the father.
He
of
was the
White
dad,
Boy
the
Rick.
terrible dad. That got, I mean, just put White Boy Rick into a bad spot. But Detroit's on the come up. Kwame Kilpatrick, former mayor, is out of jail. He's completely come around. Matt Stafford selling his house to move closer to the city, to get away from the lakes. I mean, Detroit is on the come up right now. White Boy Rick's getting out of jail.
It's August 17, 2020, around the corner, baby.
Here we go, Detroit. White Boy Rick's going to come out and see the Lions win at least 7-8 games.
They're going to be undefeated in the COVID Cup.
Here we go. Yeah, the Red Wings are not going to lose in the COVID
point.
Cup because they're not in it. Things are coming around for Detroit, Fox. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, you got to hit rock bottom in order to get to the top, or whatever they say.
Yeah.
Yep. Sun is brightest after the darkest
Thank you.
dawn.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a long, dark dawn in Detroit. It's coming out. We can't thank everybody enough for watching and listening all damn week. All our guests have been fantastic. We got yelled at by a construction worker. Let's hope he gets his job done and has a great weekend. He doesn't deserve the hate that he's getting currently, I assume. He does, actually, but he's too dumb to know it. So I hope he comes out the other side a better worker and everything like that. Emmett's airs are at 18. We're back at 1 o'clock with McAfee and Hawk. Have the best weekend you could potentially have in the middle of this. You're the greatest. We appreciate you. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. Here we go.
Good show.